Another day is here, and you're ready for it. What to wear? Check. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Check. Planning for what's next and how to save for it? That's where Bank of America can help. For your financial to-dos, Bank of America has experts ready to help get you closer to your goals. Get started at one of our local financial centers or 24/7 in our mobile banking app. Find a location near you at bankofamerica.com/talktous. What would you like the power to do? Mobile banking requires downloading the app and is only available for select devices. Message and data rates may apply. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Monday, when nothing Liverpool-wise is really happening, but we did have some Liverpool players in action at the Euros, and a bit of a mixed bag in fairness. So, let's start with Andy Robertson's Scotland getting pumped by the Germans. Dominic Szoboszlai's Hungarian team losing 3-1 to Switzerland. He had a decent second half, not such a good first half. We had nobody involved, obviously, in Spain, Croatia, nobody involved in Italy, Albania. We had two players involved as the Netherlands beat Poland, Cody Gakpo and Virgil. Both of them played pretty well. Cody scored, took a big deflection, but goes down as a Cody Gakpo goal. So we take that. And that is it up until last night when Trent played for England. And he was okay. I mean, he looked like what he is. He looked like a fullback playing out of position in midfield. That's the basic premise of it. He looked like he was out of position, but he did play some really nice passes. Could have been a bit maybe more controlled in what he was doing. Struggled a little bit when having to play with his back to goal or back to the pressing opposition, but overall he was fine. Like he was basically like England were on the whole. He was fine. Far too much obviously gets made of anything and everything Trent does, while others like Phil Foden and Harry Kane, who stank the place out, barely get a mention. We have Ibu set to play tonight for France against Austria, and then tomorrow it will be Diogo Jota's Portugal against Vítězslav Jaros's Czech Republic. So Reds involved all round, and thus far, like I say, a pretty mixed bag. Trent was okay. Robbo was flat out bad. Dominic, over the course of the game, probably evens out at about okay. Virgil played well and Cody played well. You can't really take much anyway from these games. Like, if a player plays brilliantly at international level, it doesn't really point to anything because the standard is quite poor the game is very different to the club game, just in terms of the pace and intensity of it, especially at tournaments, because they're played after a very long season. But it is nice to see our players doing well, and hopefully in the second round of games, Robbo bounces back and has a better performance against Switzerland than he did against Germany. Hopefully Dominic plays better against Germany than he did against Switzerland. Hopefully Trent plays a bit better against Denmark than he did against the Serbs. And then hopefully both Virgil and Cody continue to play well against the French, while we're all rooting for Ibu to do well, for Jota to do well, and if Yaros gets the chance, which I don't think he will, but if he does get a chance, then hopefully he does well as well. A couple of pieces up on This Is Anfield that are interesting. There's a tactics piece, how Klopp's kids can fit into slots Liverpool. 7 roles explained. This is written by Harry McMullen. So Harvey Elliott, I mean, the fact that it starts off with he can play as an 8 in slot system is just wrong, but he could play as the 10 or the right winger. He could not play one of Arne Slot's midfield roles. Jarrell Quansah, I mean, that's an obvious one. He'll play as a centre-back. Now, for me, I would say his best role under Slot is the Virgil role, which I'm assuming he'll flip his fullbacks. At Feyenoord, he would have been best suited to the right centre-back role, so that when things flex, he's in the middle of that. With us, I think the Virgil role will end up being the middle one when we defend in a 3, because I think he'll move his Gertruda role to the left and move his Hartman role to the right, because it's more suited to Trent. So I do think Quansah, he's not as good as Ibu, and we shouldn't pretend that he is. He's also not as suited to the wide roles in a 3 as Ibu. He's not as good defending space. So back up to Virgil would be a really good fit. Conor Bradley, I mean, he'll be the backup right back. So that's a role that suits him. James McConnell, I expect he goes on loan. I don't think he's going to get many minutes in midfield next season. So I'd imagine the best move for him is to go on loan. Potentially the same thing for Bobby Clark. Role under Slot, the perfect candidate as one of the 8s. There are no 8s. It's not a 4-3-3. So this article seems to run on the premise that he's going to play a 4-3-3. Although it also mentions a 10 in the Harvey piece, which is weird. So he doesn't fit as an 8 anyway. Bobby Clark is a 10. And he could stay and be back up there, but I think more likely he goes on loan. And then Jayden Danns is most likely the third choice up front. But again, could we see Cody play there over him? It's very possible. He's a very talented player. I think, given he's only 18, likely that we see him spend more time with the 21s, and then maybe next year, 25-26 season, he goes on loan. And then Stefan Bajcetic, I mean, the best role for him is if Slot moves Alexis to the 10 and plays a Quinton Timber type of box-to-box midfielder. That's the best role for him. But I'm not sure he'll do that. So we'll see. It could be that Bajcetic needs to go on loan. I mean, having missed the amount of times that he did, the amount of time that he did, he's not really suited to playing as a 6 because, well, his positional sense is not great. He doesn't read the game very well because he's really young. Like, he's still only a kid. And when we saw him actually play, it was very clear he wasn't ready to play. When he played with Fabinho, it was fine. He had, I think, one good game as the 6, but when he played with Fabinho, he looked a lot better. But there were games then where he just looked completely out of his depth. Clearly a very talented player. Clearly has a big, big future. But I do feel like having missed, when the season comes back, he'll basically have missed 18 months of football. I know he played a little bit at the end of the season, but meaningless. When he comes back, he'll have missed basically 18 months of real game time. So you're going to be looking at a period of time it will take him to get back to where he was pre-injury, let alone where we need him to be. So he's going to need a lot of games, and it's unlikely he gets them with us unless a plan is put in place to put him with the 21s next year and let him play there regularly for fitness, for development. Maybe he plays in the domestic cups, and then you reassess after the year, but he's certainly not ready to play first-team football. What else do we have on This Is Anfield? I met Jurgen Klopp at Taylor Swift, an extraordinary and memorable night at Anfield, rather. So obviously Jurgen was at the Taylor Swift gig, and this is a piece written by a gentleman who bumped into him there and spent some time with him, Rob Glover, who is a Liverpool native who has embarked on a career as a professional dancer and choreographer in the United States, but was at Anfield to witness the show. So read that when you get a chance. Lenny Yoro and 9 other centre-backs Liverpool could sign this summer. We'll come to that. There's a piece about Dominic. A piece about some Leeds outfit saying that we're going to bid for Somerville. I have extreme doubts that that's true. We'll have a look at this one. Let's see. Roy Keane claims Trent Alexander-Arnold will be ripped to shreds in his new position. I do think against a really good team, I do think he would. I do think he'd be in trouble. Cody Gakpo piece.
Now's the time to save 30% on wedding jewelry, only on BlueNile.com. Make sure your wedding ring is the one with your pick of diamond and lab-grown diamond bands, all hand-finished and graded for excellence. Or surprise her with something blue she'll love for life, like a stunning pair of sapphire earrings. Blue Nile's jewelry experts are available 24/7 to help, from fit questions to style advice. Right now, get up to 30% off at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
Darwin Núñez piece. We'll come to this one as well. So let's have a look. 11 players to watch at Euro 2024. 4 ex-Reds and 7 transfer links. So the ex-Reds, Xherdan Shaqiri, Emre Can, Gini Wijnaldum and Peter Galaxy. Emre obviously scored for the Germans. Shaq didn't even come off the bench for the Swiss. Gini came off the bench for the Dutch and played well. I didn't think Galaxy had a great game, personally, for the Hungarians. Players we've been linked with in the transfer market. So Nico Schlotterbeck, he's absolutely excellent. He's already made it clear he's staying where he is. David Hanko isn't good enough for us. Incalo Inacio would be a really good signing. João Neves doesn't make any sense for us. He's £100 million rated, or £100 million buyout, and he's not a £100 million player. He is a very good player, and he's a hugely promising player, but he's not a defensive midfielder. He'd make absolutely no sense with McAllister. Now, if we wanted to move McAllister to the number 10 position, then he could make sense, but we'd still need a defensive midfielder. And if we were going to spend £100 million on a midfield player and move Mac to the 10 and then sign the defensive midfielder, it would make much more sense to do it with Bruno Guimaraes, who's bigger, stronger, better, Premier League proven, in his prime, ready to win now, and his buyout clause can be paid in increments. Doesn't need to be lumped in one go the way João Neves would. And perhaps getting Guimaraes and then buying Ederson to go with him, that's a double pivot that would be absolutely incredible in the Premier League. McAllister 10, Dominic left wing, and Mo right wing. That would be really strong. It's not my dream scenario, but if we ended up with that, certainly wouldn't be too upset. Johan Bakayoko is very talented. He's not really at the level that we need right now. He will get there, or might get there, but I don't know why we'd buy him when we have Harvey to be that backup to Mo. That doesn't really make sense to me. Milos Kerkez, if he wants to play with 2 attacking fullbacks, then Milos Kerkez could make a ton of sense, especially if Dominic's playing left wing, because you get that Hungarian pairing on the side, and they've got good chemistry already. So quite a lot for Bournemouth this past season, and to me looks like one that has plenty of room for development and growth. And I think he's just turning 21, so nowhere near the final product, nowhere near what he's going to be, but I think already showing that he's definitely on the right path to become a top left back. Right, next story here has former Liverpool goalkeeper Andy Firth, who came through our academy, left in 2018 to join Barrow, then ended up playing for Steven Gerrard at Rangers as a backup goalkeeper, played once for them, then rejoined Liverpool after bouncing around a little bit and helped work with the younger goalkeepers as a development coach. He is leaving, or he has left the club, and will be joining Steven Gerrard again with Al Ettifaq. He will be John Achterberg's assistant coach over there. Graham Souness gives positive update on Alan Hansen. Former Liverpool captain Graham Souness has provided a positive update on the health of ex-teammate Alan Hansen. A statement from the Reds just over a week ago said Hansen was seriously ill in hospital. However, Souness told TalkSport, "I spoke to him yesterday and he sounded fabulous. So I hope that's him on the way to a full recovery. I've been speaking to his son and his wife, and I've been phoning his phone number. I got on the train on Sunday and I was looking for a seat and my phone rang and I could see it was Big Al. I was thinking, oh no, don't answer that. So I sat down and got the courage to answer the phone, and it was him. He's definitely back because he did nothing but take the mickey out of me. He's been in a difficult place, but the way he sounded yesterday, he's back, and I hope I'm right." So that is a positive. Sounds like Alan Hansen could be on the road to recovery. We don't actually know, I don't think, what's happened. I don't think anything public has been said as to what caused, what the illness is, or what actually happened. But shame on the few bellends that were tweeting horrible things, looking for clout, looking to be in the know or first on something. Luckily, most of them have deleted those tweets, but don't think people haven't kept receipts. Right, Lenny Yoro and 9 other centre-backs Liverpool could sign this summer. So Lenny Yoro, he's the one. He is the best young centre-back on the planet, and we are strongly linked to him, reported by Ornstein and others. There are reports coming out of Spain that we've made a bid that's been rejected. I wouldn't believe them. But if we've made it public that we're in for him, it's quite possible that we're, a decent way down the road. Jean-Claude Todibo, he'd be a really good signing. I think he's been outstanding since joining Nice and developing there. Would make a lot of sense as someone that could come in and you could rotate with Ibu. Willian Pacho's a very different type of centre-back, and I think if we signed him, we would still need the Yoro Todibo type, because Pacho, for my money, would be a left-back / left centre-back cover. He would not be a starting left-side centre-back or a starting right-side centre-back. Ousmane Diomande, really good prospect at Sporting. Certainly wouldn't be against him. He has a very high buyout, but excellent player. Levi Colwell's another excellent player, one that's been linked with us for a long time, but like with Pacho, I think he'd be playing more of that left-back role. Same for Nico Schlotterbeck, but he has made it clear he doesn't want to leave Borussia Dortmund. Ronald Araujo would be an incredibly good signing, and he would be another one that would rotate well with Ibu. Odilon Kasunu, I do like him. He's been a little bit inconsistent for Leverkusen, but there's no question he has a very, very high ceiling. David Hankel simply isn't good enough. Pierre Hincapié, of the left-footed options here, I think he's the one that makes the most sense. So I think he would be a great get. If we could get him and Yoro, that would be a really good outcome from this summer in terms of the defence. You'd have Trent and Bradley, Kanate and Yoro, Virgil and Kwanzaa, and then Hincapié and either Robertson or Tsimikas. I don't mind which one goes. I would say Castillo-Lacaba is probably the best option if we could get him. I think Calafiori is the second best option, but Hincapié would be third on my list. And just from a defensive point of view, he's got the potential to be absolutely top drawer. That's a pretty good list, to be fair to Jack Lusby. Right, let's have a look at Anfield Watch and see if there's anything new from them. And then we'll check AnfieldIndex.com and see what's new there. If you haven't been, please do make sure that you listen to the daily podcast myself and Carl Matchett are putting out for Euro 2024. So the lead story here on Anfield Watch is Liverpool on alert as Kvicha Kvaratskhelia sparks Napoli's civil war. His agent has said he wants to leave. It's pretty obvious he wants to leave. And I think he'd be a brilliant signing. Sell Diaz, get him in, and I think you've massively upgraded. I don't think there'll be a huge expenditure there. There's a piece about Darwin Núñez. There's a piece about Souness talking about Hansen, a piece about Cody, a piece about Bellingham talking on Trent. There's a recap regarding the different news around Virgil and Mo. Brutal tackle on Luis Diaz sparks brawl in Colombia friendly. It's not ideal, is it? Liverpool transfer Reds could reunite Arne Slot with one of his favourite players after transfer contact. This is based off a very, very weak piece in Mundo Deportivo regarding David Hanko. And it does also cite Leicester as the other club interested in him. Leicester is a more fitting move for him than we are. AnfieldIndex.com then, where we'd hope to have more and more podcasts coming this week. Article-wise, there's a look at the rumoured kits for 24-25, a piece on Hansen, piece on Cody, a piece on Jeremy Frimpong, who has been linked. I would assume that's in the event that Trent leaves, and even then I'm not sold on it because he's a great wing-back. Don't really like the idea of him as a full-back, so I'm not sure he'd make a ton of sense. And then there's a piece about Malik Yalkoy, who is a 18-year-old midfielder currently playing for IFK Gothenburg. Super talented, very, very highly regarded. And yeah, he's one of those where if we're looking to buy for the long term to potentially put them at a second club and develop them, he's one that would make a lot of sense. Malian international or Malian midfielder, could make a lot of sense. Could genuinely make a lot of sense. But we'll wait and see. He's very small as to any concern with him. I think he's like 5'6", 5'7", but super talented. What else do we have here? Podcast-wise, there is a new Minefield, which is absolutely outstanding. It's Alan and Andrew, so make sure you listen to that. There is a couple of Weekend Imposter Daily Reds with Dave Davis stepping in for me. And then there is a new Media Matters, which is Dave Davis and David Lynch. Monday lunchtime, always good. Haven't listened to it yet, but do make sure you give that one a go when you have time. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Nobody knew that healthcare could be so complicated.
Trump was a failure on healthcare.
Hundreds of thousands of Black Americans lost healthcare insurance. That is outrageous.
And if he's president again, he would cancel insurance for millions more of us.
We cannot go back. President Biden and Vice President Harris have lowered healthcare premiums and expanded coverage for Black families. They also capped the price of insulin at $35. Joe Biden is getting the job done for people just like me.
I'm Joe Biden, candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Biden for president.